All right, so I'm gonna come back into Unreal Engine, and I'm gonna go ahead and import in my geometry as well, so we can see how our textures look on the actual props themselves and see how close we can get them to look to kind of our expectations, what we saw within Substance Painter. So I'm gonna take those assets, the FBX files here, I'm just gonna drag and drop them into my geometry folder, and I'm not going to just hit OK. Drives me insane. You need to know what this dialog box is saying. And the first time that you import in an asset, you're going to have to go and make all these adjustments. All the times after that, yeah, you can just go ahead and hit OK. But the first time, you need to know what it's giving you. Right off the bat, no animations. I don't want to combine static meshes based off of how we saw it in, or maybe I do. Well, I'll see. I don't have any skeletal meshes, nothing bound, so I can uncheck that. I don't have any animations. I don't want to import materials. That's what today's lesson's all about, is creating our own. And I don't want to import any textures. I just exported and imported them myself, so I don't want accidental duplicate ones either. So with all that set, I can go ahead and hit import. And it looks like, yeah, that was wrong. I do want to combine some meshes, because in the Maya file, I'm not going to open up Maya, but the assets were grouped rather than combined. And while I'm in here, I want them to just be one single asset. So I'm going to delete all those. And I don't need to go back to Maya to fix this. I can just change this by saying, yeah, go ahead and combine my static mesh, wherever that was. Combine static mesh. So now if I hit import, I got my football, I got my can, and I got my fake plant. I want to drop them into the scene immediately, right? That's our move. Just to make sure that, yep, the size of this looks appropriate. This can of tuna, or whatever it is, looks to be about 8 centimeters. This looks to be about 24 centimeters. This looks to be correct as well. Each one of these smaller grids is 10 centimeters. That's how I know that. Okay, with all those in and happy with that, I'm gonna right away hit save all. Okay, so I'm gonna create my first material here so I can assign those textures to my assets. And I'm going to create a new material, or maybe I can just rename it. I'll just create a new material. And my personal way that I work, that you do not have to follow, as long as you have a system for yourself, is I like to just put an underscore next to all of my master materials. This is going to make it so that all my master materials are all going to be grouped together. The standard that Epic suggests using is M underscore, but I find that harder to spot if I have M as master material and MI as material instance to instantly see which one is a master and which one is a material instance. So personally, I just like to put underscore. That way it puts them all at the end of the list or all at the beginning of the list. So I'm going to just call this underscore simple. Actually, I'll call it simple maps, because I want to call my master material a descriptive term of what it is. So I'm going to open up simple maps, and I'm just going to dock an extra content browser onto the left-hand side of my material editor by going up to Window, Content Browser. I'll just choose one of these other ones, Content Browser 2 to 4, one of them. And then I'm just going to kind of just dock this on the left-hand side. This is going to give me easy access to my textures. So if I open up my texture folder, I can see all my textures here. Because my naming is correct, everything is easy to see what is what. So I'm going to just grab these football ones. I'm just going to drag and drop them into the material editor here. And what I'm going to create here is just going to be the most simple kind of material that we can create. And when you let Unreal create its own materials at import time, this is essentially what it's doing. It's assigning the texture maps to what it thinks is the appropriate channels when it creates that material. So I have these in, and now it's just a matter of kind of linking up the base color to the base color channel. And I want to use all three channels, so red, green, and blue channel of my color map. That should be going into base color. For my metallic input, this is stored within this texture, right? ORM. So the last channel is M, so RGB. So that means that the blue channel houses my material, my metallic. So I would just grab the blue channel and plug the blue channel in there. That way it's only reading one black and white map. I want to make sure I don't do this and plug in the RGB, because now it's reading basically that's orange-green color, which doesn't make any sense for a metallic. So make sure I'm doing that. My roughness was stored in the green channel, so I would put my green channel into roughness, and then my ambient occlusion was stored in my red channel. So one thing I should have mentioned when I was working with normal maps here is, we talked about how the preset is giving us a DirectX normal map. So it's already, Unreal's already expecting the correct type. But if I created OpenGL normal maps and I needed to change it here in Unreal, you can find that under Texture, Advanced, and this is where you'll say Flip Green Channel. So this is the property you're looking for if you had normal maps that you were using in Maya, OpenGL ones. This is where you'd flip it. I don't need to, because I know this is a DirectX normal map. I just want to point that out. So for this, I want to plug the red, green, blue channels directly into the normal. Awesome. So now I have a material, a master material, that has the textures assigned for the football asset. And if I double click this, now I can assign that master material to this football, and I can see that, yep, I got my normal maps on there, got my roughness maps on there, and I got my base color maps on there. And everything is looking fine. So at its most simple form, this is how you could assign materials to your assets. However, this is not how we assign materials to our assets, because we always want to have controls to kind of tweak things when we're in our engine, right? We want to be able to make this a little bit brighter, a little bit more orange, a little less, bright. We want to have those controls on it. I also don't want to have to create a complicated web of materials each time I want to create a new material for, say, my fake plant, right? I can't just assign the same material here because it's using the football texture maps on here, right? So I need to create a more open material that's going to allow me to kind of adjust what maps are going to be used, as well as add in some extra parameters to make this shinier, brighter, or whatever I need it to do. Okay, but at its core, this is a material that is using the maps that I've created in another app. Okay,